that, Dr. Pluschkell, I want to ask you a question about something that you and I talked about a while back. You know, post Pfizer, thank you for sharing some Pfizer stories. Post Pfizer, you're doing some coaching and consulting in the life sciences space, and in that capacity, you're helping clients address challenges beyond regulatory. You know, you're working on organizational challenges and kind of big picture strategy challenges. With that bigger picture in mind, where do you see value in pulling more cross-functional sort of interdisciplinary teams together to tighten up the CMC regulatory dynamic? You know, who should be involved in tracking to most efficiently achieve milestones as it relates to moving towards this regulatory harmonization and convergence and kind of doing it efficiently on the sponsor side?
Yeah, I think this is well, let me see if my answer helps. If not, I'll blame it on the question, Matt.
That's fine.
I do think it is, I think one needs to acknowledge that this can be quite a balancing act. On the one hand, you know, and you can imagine, here's another Pfizer example, when the COVID vaccine development was in full swing, it was not at all easy to allow the scientists to do the science without constantly worrying about timelines, right? That was just the nature of the beast. It probably still is now. I'm not there anymore, but I can only venture to guess, right? Another variant, right? A new way of doing things. It puts a lot of pressure on the CMC folks and on the scientists who do the CMC development. So on the one hand, I think one needs to think about how to preserve that focus and and how to shield some of that from politics and needless, you know, give me the data yesterday. On the other hand, I'm also, I think in my experience, I feel the more you can be integrating teams, the more they can learn from each other's disciplines, the better off you are. For example, certain quality attributes, and I'm connecting that back again to a question here from Christopher, who was asking for proteins, does comparability obviate new safety trials? It depends, right? That would be a perfect situation where CMC development, regulatory CMC, and the safety scientists should be working together, because you may be making changes that change or at least alter to some degree the quality attributes of the product. So you should be setting an expectation internally, in my view, that the safety scientists and the CMC developers work together on that. Because the CMC folks are not safety experts and the safety experts are not CMC experts. So I do suggest putting them together. I was also, in my own experience, actually very pleasantly surprised by how much some clinicians are interested in CMC. Some are not so much, but here's an example where it can make a big difference. This is a small molecule example where at the verge of pivotal trials, the CMC organization found a more stable polymorph. When you have a more stable polymorph, you know that is a real flag for those who do process development. Because once there's a more stable form, you may not be able to make the old one anymore. Or even if you are, there's a possibility that at some point there's a tipping point and you can't. You know, there's seeding of this new, more stable form in your plant, and you cannot get back. So you're going to have to work with the clinicians, because they're not going to be very happy for you to say we're making a major CMC change and we're going to delay the pivotal trial. So I would say it's sort of similar to keeping the agency reasonably informed of some real big changes, is do it internally and not last minute.
It seems so obvious, doesn't it? But apparently you wouldn't be suggesting that if you hadn't seen that breakdown firsthand.
Oh, of course. You learn from these things, right?